So sometimes you're going to see in instructions a reference to something that's called stitch in the ditch. And usually you see this when you're working with peyote or when you're working with right angle weave. And what I want to show you right now is how to do a stitch in the ditch and why you would do a stitch in the ditch with peyote. So let's take a look at the beads. Generally, stitch in the ditch is done when you want to take a flat piece, so this is a flat piece of peyote, and you want to start building three-dimensionally on top of it. And so you want beads to sit on top of the beads that are already there to start going vertical with your orientation. So what I would do in a case like this is, what you're looking at is, where we've been going back and forth and adding beads along this outside edge here, I want to start looking at the space between, say, this edge bead here, and then see how there's this ditch right here in between this bead and this bead. There's just, it's where the shell of the bead dips on both sides here. So there's a little ditch right there. So my thread's actually coming out in the wrong direction, so I'm just going to pop it over by one over here. So a stitch in the ditch would be literally putting a bead in that ditch area. So I'm going to pick up a bead, and I'm going to pass through the next bead on the opposite side of the ditch. So it's like jumping over the ditch. And what happens is it's perfect spacing right there. You can see how now it's sitting upward on top of the flat piece. And you can go for however many stitches your instructions may tell you to go. It's going to really vary depending on what the designer was working with. They may have very exact instructions for you, telling you where to go, how many stitches, what beads to use. Sometimes you'll see people using crystals in these ditch spaces, which is great. One thing about the stitch in the ditch is, especially with peyote, it's a little less so with right angle weave, but it can be a little bit tricky to get your needle in at that angle, because your peyote stitches are pretty tight. So using a very flexible needle, going down to a size 12 or a size 13 needle, and you can actually bend that needle if you need to get into these ditch spaces. But here you can see I've got space for one more bead here in the ditch as I go along this row. There we go. Come on, Busta. Okay, well, he wanted to go through two beads, so we're just going to let him. If I needed to, I could back that out. But now you can see where I now have this entire row of additional beads here that are sitting up on top, and I could work my way back. One of the reasons that people will do this is you can then work your way back, do what's called a step up into one of those beads that are in the ditch. Like I said, tricky with your needles. Come on, baby. I'm using a size 10 needle, which is actually a mistake because I can't get it to bend properly. Okay, so we're going to pretend that I had a 12 and I could get it to bend up through there. And then you would take your step up and see, now you could actually even do peyote vertically on this piece. Pick up one, pass through the next. Pick up one, pass through the next. And then you can actually be working your piece in two different directions. Like so. So I could work peyote back and forth, and then we're building a wall here, and then we had a wall here. So anyway, so that is the stitch in the ditch concept. Super easy to do. People kind of have to see it to understand what's going on with it. So next time you see it, you're going to have it all figured out. Be sure and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of these tips. We're releasing a new video every week, and I want to show you all of them. Thanks.